Hello and welcome to this video which I'm calling What is an Angel? I'm not sure that in the length of such a short video I can entirely answer that question, but let's have an overview. People who have been following my work for quite a while will already know that I've been writing books and offering courses about angels for over 20 years now. People who are newer to my work may not have followed some of the things that I'm going to talk about now, but I'm using this video just to encapsulate a few simple and basic ideas about angels and to explain a bit about how I came to get involved with the topic in the first place. So, in 1974, I personally had a very profound experience of light. We could call it illumination. And at the time, even though I wasn't involved or particularly interested in the notion of angels, I certainly wasn't a Christian, at that time, my first impulse was to say to myself, I've just met an angel. But it wasn't like this. And it wasn't at all like this. There was nothing sweet or charming about this experience. It was perhaps more like this. Or this. Or this. Now, I believe everyone has an angel present within them, and we can all experience the grandeur and the beauty of what I nowadays call our radiant being. I became interested in comparative religion when I was a teenager. My family had no interest in the Bible or church. They were socialists. But like most children, I did get some Christian teaching at school, and we always had a school nativity play in which the angel visits Mary. Being influenced by my home background, I dismissed this as old superstition. And then I became interested in Buddhism, which didn't seem to have any angels, didn't seem to have any God, not up in the skies. My aunt knew some astrology, and she had theosophical books, and my uncle, he had a photograph taken with Annie Besant, who was a very famous theosophist. So through them I soon discovered the idea that all religions are based on the perennial philosophy, as it's called. All religions basically believe that the material world arises out of an invisible dimension. When I was 30, after learning transcendental meditation, I started to have mystical experiences. And that led me to this experience of light, which I mentioned earlier. I was completely overwhelmed by what felt like an invasion of light, and it rushed through my mind and body. But although I've used the word invasion here, it was almost as though the light was coming from inside, not outside. I felt as though I was a light bulb that had been switched on after being left in a dark room. Needless to say, I couldn't find any medical explanation. But much later, a yoga practitioner suggested that what I'd experienced was what is known in yoga as Kundalini rising. So I went off to find accounts about Kundalini rising, and the most famous account is by a yogi called Gopi Krishna, and he describes his own experiences with Kundalini. But what I felt was that, as he describes it anyway, the Kundalini event does not seem to bring with it the sense of having a personal or intimate contact with, well, with what, we might ask? With what? God? Or perhaps an angel? So this painting I go back to was painted by my husband Will, and it is the closest visual image I can offer. It is mostly golden light. There are no wings, only the hint of a face. But for me, it helps to convey the intensity of illumination. I've always thought of this image as being a seraph. The seraphim are the fire angels closest to the divine throne in traditional mystical teachings. So this very different image is of an ancient carving. It's over 3,000 years old, and it's described as a seraph. You see, it has the 6 wings. The seraphim are mentioned in biblical visions when the Jewish prophet Isaiah sees these celestial beings in the temple surrounded by fire and smoke. And later, the Christian hierarchies included the seraphim at the centre or the top of their scheme of descending celestial beings. So this map was created about 600 years after Jesus, when a Christian mystic developed these hierarchies, and he showed 9 layers of celestial beings, and that included the seraphim, the cherubim, the archangels, the angels, and so forth. And they were adopted as the true image of celestial realms, certainly by the Christians of the time, and they've continued to be present in Christianity ever since. In the Middle Ages, the philosophers debated how many angels could dance on the head of a pin. Now this is where we get to the nitty-gritty of our question: what is an angel? Their problem was to decide whether angels had any material substance, or whether they were simply intelligences, spiritual beings that cannot be measured or delineated with ordinary human faculties. So how many angels can dance on the head of a pin is a question about, do they have any physical reality, which would mean that they would all have to squash up on the head of the pin? Or is it, as a later writer suggested, that there's an infinite number of angels can dance on the head of a pin because they are ideas? So how many ideas can you have on the head of a pin? Well, an infinite number. For every blade of grass there is an angel whispering, "Grow, grow." Now this well-known saying is from the Jewish Talmud, and as I'd studied more about angels, I began to realise the Jewish tradition was a good, if possibly the best, source of wisdom concerning the angels. Jewish mysticism, called Kabbalah, has developed by many generations of mystics, and we would describe them almost like shamanistic practitioners. They mapped inner dimensions, they travelled along pathways, they identified archangels as gatekeepers of deep realms of consciousness. They used fasting, breathwork and sacred recitations in Hebrew to help them shed everyday limitations of the mind and enter into communion with other worldly beings. The tree of life was thought of as a ladder that can be ascended, and then the mystic would meet the archangels guarding the gates of light, and sometimes they would be challenged. Sometimes the archangels would be very rude and very unfriendly, asking why the human had the cheek to enter into their realms. Eventually, the mystic hopes to reach the divine throne. This is a process of shedding material concerns and also shedding the egoic process of the everyday self's requirements, the everyday self's anxieties and fears. And it's very similar to the near-death experience, which allows people to enter a heavenly dimension and then return with wisdom. So, an angel is the light that we experience when we strip away all materiality. It is the radiant template that sustains every person, animal, mountain, tree, flower, blade of grass. I use the word template because each unique creation has a formula, a code that holds the shape of possibility for its existence. So this Victorian image of a guardian angel looking over a small child is a sentimentalised version of this radiant being. To me, it's a bit limp-wristed, but your radiant being will guard you, not from outside, not from above, but from within. It doesn't wear a white nightie. It doesn't move in the sky with huge wings. It's just there, right here, right now. So you, like every human individual, has a radiant being, an angel of presence, waiting to shine through your everyday self and be truly radiant and truly present in this world. How can you establish a relationship with this inner angel and then shine in the world? Seek and you will find. I teach people how to use a Hebrew phrase I call a zera, which is Hebrew for seed. This phrase has been chosen for both its meaning and the quality of the sound. This technique brings the same kind of results as a Sanskrit mantra. The zera encourages coherence in the brainwave states, and then we settle into a deep state of stillness and silence, making it possible for our inner angel to communicate with us. So, here is your basic methodology. Meditate daily, journey to meet your radiant being, ask to converse with archangels, open your heart to healing, blessings and abundance. My SoulSchool courses can help you on your quest to go beyond your everyday awareness, develop your potential, choose your path of destiny, and cultivate metaphysical insights, synchronicities, and intuition. I hope what I've been saying about angels today has been insightful and inspiring. My Zero meditation courses are designed for people like you who would like to open the heart, open the mind, elevate your spirit, ascend, some people say, into a new state of awareness. So you can find out about my courses on my website. And if you've enjoyed this, watching on YouTube, you can subscribe. And I always welcome comments and questions. Goodbye for now.